Hello everybody, JayborinoPlays here, continuing Xeyed Nascency, a custom campaign for Starcraft 2 created by Solstice. Mission to Orion facility. Several weeks since the success of the Xeyed project debut, the next Xeyed strain is being tested in the Orion facility, being matched versus its many security dummies. Dr. Rowling and Carl Allen will be directly overseeing and the commanding of the Xeyed forces on site and are excited to see their results. The Orion security dummies will be sending attack waves. Be sure to defend your base while away. Great. Xeyed, very strong on the defensive because you've got those feeding pools that heal your units. Also, really powerful defensive structures, which I assume we'll see here. Several weeks later, the new Scorpolisk strain is ready for testing. I love Scorpolisks. We are here at the Orion facility, ready to begin field testing our newest strain, the Scorpolisk. Give him to me, Dr. Allen. The Doctor's Allen, I should say. Releasing the Scorpolisks from their containment cells, there is an attack wave ready and waiting for the order from the Orion officers to attack us. So I hope those aren't real people. They said security dummies. The Scorpolisk is a heavily armored melee unit. It excels in combat against lightly armored units, which are easily pierced by the talons and stinger. To mutate more, you must form a mutagen chamber first, however. Okay, let's just go ahead and get a few... Well, that's too many. We don't need to build that many. So let's check this out. The Siphoner is built over Vespene geysers and allows scavengers to harvest Vespene over them. Cool. So that's just our geyser harvesting structure. The mutagen chamber unlocks the Scorpolisk and has upgrades that can be researched as well, constructed by scavengers. Imagine that's like our engineering bay / forge / evolution chamber, except this also unlocks the building of a specific unit, which is the Scorpolisk, which is a heavily armored melee unit. It deals additional damage to light targets, and is mutated at the Xeyed den via larva, requires a mutagen chamber. Okay, so let's get going. And in case, I like how here it does have like the tech tree units here, different tech requirements, and then there's just random Xeyed tips, which is quite nice. So for incoming attack wave detected, where is our opening? Up there? Okay. Well, oh no, it could be over here, actually. Never mind. We have more hive-mind emulators there. I like that a lot. Sunken colonies. This is what I was just about to wonder, is if we can build these. The sunken colony is an effective Xeyed defensive structure. Targets ground units, requires creep. So some buildings require creep and some don't. Seems like our defensive structures specifically do. So what you do is you move over. Let's bump up that game speed. Is you build your feeding pools in specific locations to spread creep so that you can build sunken colonies. Sunken colonies for Xeyed are very, very strong. It's really, really, really nice. I just realized I'm not sure what is healing us here. It may be this feeding pool, because this one isn't done yet, so I'm not entirely sure. Now, keep in mind, the feeding pools only affect one unit at a time. It seems like Xeyed also does have passive healing, which is nice. Feeding pools only affect one unit at a time, or 2 units at a time, excuse me, but only up to 60% health, which is a nice little adjustment, I think. And again, I would refer to them as a poor man's Moonwell. I think I'm going to say that every mission when I'm talking about these. Let's get some more Xeyedlings for now because we have the money and just keep making scavengers. We'll go ahead and saturate our Siphoner, get some more feeding pools, make some sunken colonies, and we will be square. Let's go ahead and get another feeding pool up here just to get the creep set up. Now, again, I think sunken colonies of the 3 races are the best defensive structure and placement. Granted, they only work against ground, but they are very, very, very good buildings. Okay, let's hotkey this to 2. Once this feeding pool is done, well, what do we need for a sunken colony? Let's check now we can check our tech tree to see. Those are just units. So I think it's just a Xeyed den in order to make sunken colonies, so that's nice. So let's go ahead and get some sunken colonies. It's N. Okay, well, that feeding pool isn't quite close enough. Let's make another one here and just wait for this creep to spread. We can get a sunken colony right here. We also don't want to wall ourselves in. We don't want to box ourselves in completely. And again, sunken colonies are really good. And I'm curious to know if feeding pools actually heal them. I think the feeding pools only work on units. It says friendly units, not buildings. I assume it would say friendly buildings, units, and structures, but it doesn't. So that's why I'm going to assume it's only one. Let's go ahead and get our mutagen chamber. There's our sunken colony, looking good. We'll see what kind of attacks we can expect to see from that. And if you've played Brood War, I think you'll know what kind of attacks the sunken colonies generally will have. Let's go ahead and get even another one. How much do these cost? 125. It seems like a good amount. I mean, photon cannons are 150, but those can attack ground and air. Sunken colonies only attack ground, but 24 and then 28 damage is quite good if you ask me. Let's go ahead and get some more scavengers. Still waiting for that mutagen chamber, and then I'm going to get another... I'd like to get another Xeyed den. All right, and there's our sunken colonies. Looking good. Okay, and you just get enough of those and you'll be fine. Now that the mutagen chamber is complete, you can mutate your own additional scorpolisks. We have also come through with some overall improvements for Xeyed. The mutagen chamber can mutate these changers of your forces into your forces. So let's go ahead and get that. The goal is to destroy all the Orion facilities' command centers. They will continue to send attack waves towards your base as long as they are alive, so it'd be wise to build defensive structures, which we have also allowed you to use. All right, well, we've already done that, so don't you worry. Let's go ahead and get one more. Level 1 upgrades. Researched at the mutagen chamber, these upgrades increase the Xeyed's combat effectiveness, efficiency, and are highly advised. Sure, we're going to do that. I won't queue up the armor until we need it for later. Let's go ahead and get fully saturated here. Not enough minerals. I just realized our announcer is the adjutant. I guess that makes sense from our perspective because we're playing as the doctors right now, but I wonder if maybe that will eventually change to a Zergy advisor or not. That's right, I said Zergy. Zergy advisors. I could just make feeding pools all over the map. It's kind of cool when you think about it. You can kind of like make little outposts. You just move forward. You make feeding, like you throw down a feeding pool, spread some creep. Then you make a bunch of sunken colonies. And eventually I think you get spore colonies too. Can we make those now? No, because the enemy probably doesn't have any air. And then you make your Xeyed dens and eventually your higher level production facilities outwards. And you can kind of push across the map in large swaths that way by making small outposts. It's pretty nice. I mean, you could do that with any race, technically, but I'm just talking about how I would do that as Xeyed specifically. Let's go ahead and throw this down. Anywhere where we can spread the creep a little bit more, because each of these buildings, our production facilities do spread creep a little bit similar to feeding pools, but you can only build defensive structures on creep, apparently. I'm curious to know where this campaign is going to go. I can only imagine eventually we're going to be busting out of here. Currently we're, the playable character are these two doctors, but eventually I'm sure we're going to be some sort of Xeyed hive-mind that breaks out. I don't even know why I'm using my units here. I shouldn't bother. I should just leave them in the back and let my sunken colonies take the hits. The sunken colonies also have a lot of health. 400 health is quite good. So let's just get a lot of scorpithids. Now, scorpithids, 135 health. So, it's slightly less than double a Xeyedling's health. It's still not bad, but they're armored. They come with a base of 1 armor, and they do 17 damage versus light. That's very, very good. So they just tear through Zerglings. So think like Scorpithids, in my opinion, or Scorpolisks, rather, are just the direct counter. To Zerg Tier 1. So Zergling Baneling is just going to get smashed. Just absolutely smashed by Scorpithids because they're armored so they can take Baneling hits and they're just going to wreck through. They're just going to destroy all Zerglings on the ground. So overall, and the same with Zealots. They're great against Zealots. Against a Zealot-Stalker combination, on the other hand, the Stalkers would probably tear apart them. So meanwhile, in the back, though, you have your Xeyedlings. It's just a really good combination here, especially once you get that piercing points composition, or upgrade, rather, for the Xeyedlings where they can attack armored, extra against armored is crazy, crazy good. Just realized the Siphoner has a different model. I thought it was just an extractor. It's not. It's a little different. Everything's a little different. Again, it looks like Zerg, but it's not really Zerg. It functions more like Terran. I built two extra scavengers here. I'll probably bring some with me and set up those feeding pools along the way so we can fall back and heal.
Supply depots required.
Okay, we need some feeding pools. Let's throw these down. And let's get going. Let's just take what we have and check this out. Destroy the enemy command centers. All right, this probably won't be enough, but I'm not sure. Which way do we want to go first is the question. Got some Hellions here. This is where our Scorpolisks are just going to smash through this stuff. Okay, so this is not easy. This is really fortified. We're just going to need a lot of Scorpolisks to stand in the front and get through these defenses so that our Xeyedlings can get in and really do the damage. So let's move forward and try to get rid of these buildings before they can reinforce this stuff. Not enough gas to make the Scorpolisks, so let's just keep making Xeyedlings. Okay, let's back away. Let the Scorpolisks get in there first, and then follow up with the Xeyedlings. We don't want the Xeyedlings taking the damage. We want the Xeyedlings doing the damage. I mean, you could say that about anything, right? But you could say that about any of your units, but I would say Xeyedlings, they're weaker. They die a lot faster, especially because they're light, so Hellions are going to tear them up. You want to keep them in the back. And it's easier to do so than with Zerglings, whereas Zerglings, they're melee, so they're just going to run into the front and die, whereas the Xeyedlings, you can do some micro to keep them in the back to stop them from getting murdered so easily. Okay, so up here is where we need to go. I think we need to hang back So 50... Yeah, okay, so that's 50. 50 gas for Scorpithids. That's good to keep in mind. Everybody rally on up here. Let's rally to a random Xeyedling. Because those, you know, they stand in the back and are less likely to die, whereas our Scorpolisks are going to die pretty quick, I think. Looks like they're reinforcing up here. Now, theoretically, these aren't real people. They're target dummies, which makes me feel a little less bad about just using them for target practice. As you can see, the Scorpolisks do very, very poorly against these armored units. They do not do good at all. All right, let's move on up this ramp. See a tank back there? Oh, dear. I may have overextended, but we are spread. This is actually this might work out. It's going to be close. We need to move in and kill this tank. We can kill the tank. The question is, can they reinforce the tank? And then let's try to run away with our existing units. 2 Xeyedlings survived. Okay, so let's just get a group of Xeyedlings right now. I'm going to get more Xeyedens. I'm going to get 2 more Xeyedens, actually. So it's B for build, obviously, and then X for Xeyeden. We saved 1 Xeyedling. Don't worry, buddy. So the question is, how much of this are they going to reinforce? Are they going to rebuild these units like crazy or not? We'll see. We do have 1-1. That's, you know, fine. And just like little minor points that it's not a big deal, but I like how the tooltips, like the actual pictures for the +1-1 are different. Like this is, I think, the tooltip for grooved spines. This is the little picture for it. But it's, you know, it's +1 ground attack for Xeyed. It's a nice little, you know, addition. It's not, they didn't just, Solstice didn't just take the pictures that are normal for Zerg and just be like, oh, this is what it is. I don't know. I like that a lot. It's just a little minor thing. Very mild change that adds a lot for me. It's little details like that that can really take something from really good to really great. Okay, so more Xeyedlings. And then we've got 6 Scorpolisks coming out, which should be enough to get up this ramp. That's tough, though. I mean, with the amount of units they had up there, plus that 1 siege tank, you know, trying to push up a ramp, it's basically trying to push across a bridge with no vision. So it's tough. Okay, Scorpolisks. Why was I calling them Scorpithids before? Is that from a different part of the game? Scorpithids. What is that from? Maybe these were originally called Scorpithids, and now they're Scorpolisks? I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the comments can help me out. I'm not sure. Okay, so now that I know how much more I need to push through this, I'm going to make a reasonable amount more of units. It's just, you know, we have to wait for more gas so we can get more Scorpolisks. The only issue is, you know, they do so little damage against armored targets that, but I need them in the front to soak up damage. But Marauders and Siege Tank's going to do very, very well against them. As long as we get the Xeyedlings in the back, we're in, you know, really good shape. So I think this is good. Okay, let's not. Just let them attack into the sunken colonies. Very interesting attack animation. You can kind of see it go through the ground. I like that. Okay. Yes, try to transform, you dope. Okay, so let's go this way. Let's see if they've rebuilt these units down here. It doesn't look like... Oh, no, they have. Of course they have. Because it wouldn't be a StarCraft 2 campaign if the enemy just rebuilt everywhere. Okay, back up. Draw them into us. Draw these units into us. Yes. I don't want to be pushing into too many of these tanks. Okay, and then let's just make a lot of Xeyedlings, and let's try to get up this ramp. Yep, that tank is back. We're just going straight up the ramp now. Attack. And this should be enough this time. I think this is enough. It's a little closer than I'd like, but it is enough. Get rid of that annoying Goliath that's just been doing a ton of damage to me. All right, so now that we've gotten rid of the units that are here, we should be good. Let's go ahead and destroy this to stop them from making Goliaths and tanks, even though one is already queued up. Excuse me. I should have just pointed away from the microphone when I cleared my throat. Apologies. Everybody get up here. And we need Scorpithids. Can afford 7 of them. Alright, yeah, okay, they made the Goliath first. As long as they're not making the tanks. I hate the tanks. Well, it doesn't really matter. It would have tried to siege up and die anyway, so. Okay. So we have more reinforcements coming in, and again, the defense here, it's not easy, but it's not, like, absurdly hard and frustrating. It's like, just the right amount of challenging for an early level mission, especially when you only have access to 2 units. So it's good. I like it so far. So let's go ahead and We can just make more Zeedlings, more Scorpithids. We might as well be spending our money right now. I think getting those extra Xeyed dens was, you know, correct. It's the right thing to do. The big thing is knowing what the right amount of production structures are based on what income you have. With, you know, new races, with, you know, new unit costs. It's hard to tell. Okay, Command Center 1 goes down. 1 out of 3. The space will no longer send attack waves. Okay, so we can either go down this way or through this area, and I think through this area is the right choice. Excellent. With this base cleared, the Orion forces will no longer be able to stage their attacks from here, and you'll be able to claim these resources. Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't know if that means maybe the other bases are more heavily defended, because that one was hard enough to get through. Not enough food. Interesting how it says not enough food and not enough versus not enough supply. Okay, attack. The big thing is your Scorpithids can get stuck behind your Zeedlings, especially in choke points like this. You gotta be a little careful, I think. Which way do we want to go? That does not seem like the way we want to go right now. This definitely seems like where we want to go. The question is, do we want to go now, or I think I want to wait to get more Scorpithids. And we really need this new scavenger nest set up so that we can get more Vespines. So let's go ahead and grab one of these folks. Set up a siphoner. I could set up a bunch of feeding pools here. I don't know if that's the right choice or not. I wonder, maybe this loops around and there's 2 ways to get into this base. Okay, we need feeding pools? Feeding pools, that's what they are. So let's just make a big cluster of these. We've got tons of money to burn right now, so let's just focus on that. Hotkey our scavenger nest so that we can just make a bunch of workers and rally both of them down there. I kind of like to do that. I like to grab my main town hall and rally workers built from there down to these minerals. Alrighty, so 10 Scorpithids seems good. Again, they die. They're going to die pretty quick to anti-armor, marauders, tanks, the works, if you will. So let's get, well, we can get a few more. Grab the Zeedlings, and after this group makes it up to us, we'll be in good shape. With this amount of sunken colonies, we seem fine. So the sunken colonies are not affected by feeding pools. That's good. That seems really good, because if it wasn't, that would be kind of imbalanced in my opinion. So we mostly just need the gas here so we can make more Scorpithids. We're just waiting for this main group. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Bring it up. I really like this custom race. It functions, you know, again, similar to Terran and Zerg together. It's not something that's, like, totally out of left field, totally different, totally, you know, different resource mechanics or anything like that. It's similar, but not quite the same. I like it a lot. It's not hard to wrap your head around, because it's not something that's a million times different than anything else you've ever seen. This was probably the next attack wave that was coming for us. Let's start busting up this ramp. Let's see what we're up against here. There's a tank in the back. Zeedlings, you need to move in. Just get this tank. There we go. Is there another tank? I thought I saw another. No, there's not another tank. Scorpithid's just going to wreck through. It's the second time I've said it. They're going to wreck through something. It's a strange way to describe destroying something. They're just going to tear through all these workers. Zeedling's not really holding up as well as I'd like, but, you know, they're doing fine. And let's just F2 our way up to the top of this base. Command center is gone. The amount of Scorpithids that we had that time was sufficient. I'm going to get even more.
Gas.
The base will no longer send attack waves when all production structures are destroyed. Okay, cool. And indeed, all the production structures are destroyed. This is connected. It's nice that we were given 2 different ways we could go if we wanted to. I suppose this would have been the right way to go, because we were attacking from the top down as opposed to the bottom up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Maybe we could have gotten the jump on the siege tank that way, but either way, I think we're fine. Okay, we're at 100 supply, which is just great. Let's go ahead and get some more. Well, that's too many. Let's go ahead and get some more feeding pools. Okay, you folks just get back to mining. And more Scorpithids is... I'm calling them Scorpithids again. Scorpilisks are doing great. I remember when I was watching some of these replays, the Scorpilisks had an interesting thing where their aggression level was set a bit lower. So, like, units in the front, like Marauders, would ignore them, even though Marauders are really needed to attack into here. There's a very large cache of resources below, but it is guarded by security forces. If possible, break through those defenses and claim those resources. All right, well, let's do that before we get the last command center. So basically, your frontline troops, your Scorpilisks, you'd imagine they'd get killed first, but the Marauders, which are the specific units that and Stalkers, which are the specific units that should be killing the Scorpilisks, against this composition would ignore them and would try to kill the Zeedlings instead. So that made Xeyed very, very, very powerful with this type of composition, even though it's like a tier 1.5 composition. Alright, reasonable sized attack here. Get the Zeedlings in there, all the way in there. And huge scrap salvage. Let's see what's going on here. Ooh, that is a lot of money. That was great. That was like 300, 300. Cool. Neat little optional objective. It didn't seem like it was like an optional objective that popped up here. It was just something to do. Okay, so this is our area where we can sit and just wait for enemies probably to come to us. Because it seems like they're reinforcing down here. I'm just going to get a bunch more Scorpolisks, excuse me. And once they're done, we're going to go ahead and go. Because I think we have enough Zeedlings right now. And the Scorpolisks they're the meat. They can do damage against light units, again, mostly against enemy melee units. They're anti-enemy melee, and, you know, Terran specifically doesn't have that except Hellbats. And we're not seeing too many of those. It's not like seeing a ton of Zerglings or a ton of Zealots. And I would love to face off against Protoss with Xeyed, just because I would love to just destroy Zealots with Scorpolisks. That would be incredibly fun. All right, so here these guys come. They're making their way down. And once this group makes their way here, we're going to try to bust up this next ramp. And just for fun, we'll make a bunch of Zeedlings to rally up as well. So, okay. So let's see if we can make it up this ramp. We are clumped up quite heavily. The Scorpolisks do have a reasonably sized model, though. So they have, they don't clump up too much. They don't clump up that much. Now, one of the notable things here, and similar to Zerg, is that there's no anti-air in this composition. Zeedlings can't attack air. Scorpolisks obviously can't because they're melee, so. Okay, so we've definitely pushed through, and this is probably going to be the end of this unless there's some sort of escape function. I'm kind of curious to see what the story of this campaign is going to be. Man, look at those Hellbats just die to Scorpolisks. I love it. You know, you get used to Scorpolisks just sort of being there to die, but when they start dealing massive damage against those light units, you know, you really start to appreciate them more. Alrighty. Well, hey, let's just watch the carnage. And I'm excited to unlock more of the Xeyed race with upgrades and new units. The base will no longer send attack waves. Alrighty, and we've completed it. All enemy command centers destroyed. Field test successful. Another day of not being fired. Good work, Doctors Allen. The Xeyed are truly a force to be reckoned with, and the Orion security forces are in ruins at the hands of the Xeyed and our directions. Interesting, the symbolism. The Greek goddess Artemis defeated her fellow huntsman and god Orion by the sting of a scorpion. Anyways, I've come through with some major breakthroughs for the Zeedling. Improvements will be available in the next field test, and a new Xeyed strain is currently in development, which will be revealed in the next test as well. So I assume that means next time we're going to have those piercing points, which is just going to make the Zeedlings way more effective. We need some anti-armored in this composition for sure. Really looking forward to starting Mission 3. Mission 3 technically still in beta, but it is the last mission I'm going to show because nothing else is out for this campaign. I do like to play campaigns in groups of 2 or 3 as the maps come out, rather than like a map is released and then I immediately play it, because I also like to give them some time to do some bug fixes and stuff as well. So I think missions 1 through 3 have been out for long enough that I think this is a good time to show them off. Alrighty, this has been JayborinoPlays. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye now.